Welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast, your source for all things bourbon. Join your hosts, Mark and Matt, as they drink and review bourbons, share news about upcoming events, interview the who's who in the bourbon world, and, most importantly, bring you along for the fun of living the bourbon life. Now, here's your hosts, Mark and Matt.
All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. That's what it is, not the postcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Matt. Matt, how you doing over there?
Oh, Mark, I'm doing good, man. How are you? You starting the podcast a little early here?
I've not even been drinking today, man. I've not touched anything, believe it or not. So, yeah, for some reason, it just, the postcast popped into my head, and I almost said postcast instead of podcast. So, got to watch myself. You're looking pretty comfortable over there, Matt. Your new setup here in the Bourbon Life Studios, sitting there in front of that warm, toasty fireplace. You doing all right?
Yeah, it is nice, man. I'm over here toasting my buns. It's cozy in the studios tonight.
That's good. Well, I can't hear it in the background, so that's good. But if you get too hot over there, you can just jump up and flip that thing off. But it looks good, man. It looks like you're in a nice, relaxed environment, so that's a good thing. I want my co-host to be comfortable when he's doing this stuff over there.
What a guy.
Yeah, what can I say? All right, man. Let me think. Oh, actually, you know what, Matt? Last week we had a birthday from one of our Barrel Society members, Shaw Singleton. Forgot to mention him. And then this week we have John Neff. So congratulations to you guys. Happy birthday, Shaw. Sorry about that we forgot you last week. And then I also need to thank our sponsors, the Stave Restaurant out in Millville, Kentucky. New chef Kyle Klatka, man. He's doing some great stuff out there. If you guys check them out on Instagram, the Stave Kentucky, they've got some great pictures and the food is incredible. We went out there a couple weeks ago and had some of the new menu items, and it's awesome. It's out there between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve out there on McCracken Pike. It's on the banks of Glens Creek. It's a really neat little place. So check those guys out when you get a chance. And then also 3 Chord Bourbon, our newest sponsor. We're thrilled to have them on board with us, and we really appreciate everything they do. And Ari Sussman, their master blender, master distiller, doing some great stuff and putting out some really incredible products up there. So check those guys out as well at 3chordbourbon.com. So Matt, with that said, man, you want to tell everybody who we have with us tonight?
I would love to, Mark. So last week we had on the show Wes Henderson, and we had a little conversation about the father-son duo between he and his dad, Lincoln, and how they got going on Angel's Envy. And tonight we are coming right back with another father-son duo. And this one is special to me. This has been on my calendar for a while. Growing up playing ice hockey in Michigan, I happen to know very well of Ed Belfour. And with him tonight is his son, Dayn. And these are the Belfours from Belfour Spirits. So gentlemen, welcome to the Bourbon Life Podcast.
Well, thanks for having us, Matt and Mark. We really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it having us here.
Yeah, it's funny because on Instagram, I'd seen pictures. People have really been talking about your stuff, and we'll talk some more about the bottles and the design. I mean, obviously, extremely eye-catching. It looks awesome on Instagram when you see it. So that kind of piqued my curiosity because I had not, seen the stuff here in Kentucky, obviously. Had some familiarity with it. But Matt, we were talking one day and he was just like, he's a Michigan guy. And he's like, oh, I've got the perfect idea for a guest. We got to do this. So I'm like, all right, well, we're going to do that.
Yeah, so, definitely got roots in Michigan. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure I was sprouted out of that state.
Oh, that's awesome. There you go, Matt. Another Michigander for you, right? So
yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's great. Well, guys, what we usually do is, we do 3 different expressions during the show. So we've got 3 different items from you guys. Thank you all so much for sending those over to us. And the first one we got is your bourbon. So what we usually do is just let you guys kind of tell everybody what we're drinking first, just so our listeners understand what it is we got in our glass. So if you guys want to kind of take that away and just give us some information about the bourbon, that'd be great.
Yeah, Dad, you want to start us off, or how do you want to tag team this match here?
Yeah, I'll start it off, and then you can finish it off with the details of the bourbon.
Yeah.
So, we wanted to have, for myself, a big deal for me was winning the Stanley Cup here with the Dallas Stars in '99, and So we wanted to have that Texas connection. We all live here in Texas. Dayn, Reagan, my daughter, who's also involved with the business, and my younger son, Adler. So we wanted to have that Texas connection, and the Texas pecan tree is very prevalent here, and a lot of pecan products are made here every year. And one of our favorite pies is pecan pie. So we wanted to add that uniqueness to our bourbon. So what we did was we harvest some pecan trees here in Texas, and we harvest them. We did a special process to them where we um, put them into tiny little staves. They're about an inch by about 12 inches long. We create a lot of surface area on them by drilling holes into them, which creates a lot of extra surface area. And then we do a special toasting to them.
Okay.
We age the bourbon the last 2 months of its period with those staves inside the white oak barrel, and it just creates a very unique smoothness and flavor profile um, that we really enjoy and we love. And people have told us on numerous occasions, all kinds of, you know, unique sayings, and of course that Texas pecan, smoke flavor that they're getting. They love that, and it gives us that connection to Texas, which we've always wanted. And Dayn, you go ahead and tell everyone a little bit about the
Yeah,
flavor profile.
it's pretty much right there. The way Dad's going is the Texas pecan wood has definitely influenced the nose. You'll find some roasted nuts pretty much right in your face as you get a little whiff of that, and has a lovely mid palatability body of creme brulee and butterscotch, and a nice vanilla smoky finish. And way on the back end, I want to say maybe after 5 seconds after you ingest, you'll find that this little jalapeno spice just comes out of left field and kind of gives you some attitude. And the mash bill, that's our 60-30-10. Our mash bill, our 60 corn, 30 wheat, and 10% malted barley. So this is our wheated bourbon, and we really love how how the pecan and the oak have really kind of almost gone through this lovely marrying process. The 2 months that the pecan is in our bourbon barrel, it just completely, changes the game, and, graces the bourbon with its presence. I really love how they're kind of waltzing together. You can really see the characteristics of both oak and pecan taking effect here on the bourbon.
Yeah, definitely can. Matt, on the nose on this one, what are you picking up on this?
I get definitely the nice sweet toasted nut is on there with the nose. I pick up like Derby pie, which kind of similar to the pecan pie. That really nice brown butter and like a little bit of cinnamon in it as well, and like the really nice pecans with a touch of bittersweet chocolate on the nose too. It's got just that really great Derby pie smell to it, and just really nice.
Matt,
really nice.
You had to start off with that. Now that's all I can smell.
It works really well with dessert. Trust me.
Pour it on ice cream and carrot cake and creme brulee and just about any damn cake you could ever imagine, because it's worth it.
Yeah, it's funny because one of my favorites is the Old Forester 1910, and that's a double oaked bourbon where they have it and they take it and they put it in the other barrel for 18 or whatever, 16, 12 months, whatever it is. And like that Woodford double oaked, where it's a double oaked barrel, they take it out of one barrel, put it back into another barrel. And Makers does their stave selections on their private reserve. So, a similar process. And I don't want to say that I don't like port barrel finishes and wine barrel finishes, because they are good. They have their place. But man, when you're putting this bourbon into another situation with other woods, for some reason, it just changes the complexity to me. And I love that so much. And you really pick up on this one, like Matt said, you pick up that toasted nut on the nose. You get that Derby pie, man. I think that's a great explanation, Matt. That's a great descriptor for sure. So it's very nice. So now, what's the aging on the bourbon before you guys finish it? What's the age statement, or is there an age statement on that?
So this is our entry level product that got us on the shelves, guys. The youngest barrel we have in there is 18 months. The majority of this juice is actually just shy of straight. And
Oh, okay.
and we started with a 1,700 barrel inventory. Dad and I, we went to 2 different schools, and I did a 7-month internship at Woody Creek Distilleries in Basalt, Colorado,
Okay.
Aspen area. And that's really where our education took off. And that was some years ago already, while Dad and I were in works to developing our brand and our company. We built 1,700 barrels based off of my 7-month internship. And from all the info I gathered and all the knowledge I acquired, apprenticing, if you will, we took that into works and went over to Southern Distilling with another mom and pop family ran, owned an operation. So another, family op like Dad and I, and we took our mash bills and our education.
Don't forget to mention too. We did go to Moonshine University.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
awesome.
yeah, we had a week, long course there. We made a lot of good friends.
You had a crash course for sure.
Yeah, it was a well spent time being there. We met a lot of great people there, like Peggy No Stevens,
Oh yeah,
Don
yeah.
Rogers.
Randy Allender.
Yeah, Randy Allender still works with us and helps us.
Yep.
Don Hardwick. We just did I just did another podcast or seminar with those guys last week with Dr. Pat and from Wilderness Trail with
We love Dr. Pat.
the
He's
yeast
awesome.
seminar. So we learned a lot from Moonshine University, and we thank those folks up there. They really helped us. I think get us on the right track with the right people.
Right.
All the experts are from Kentucky, so working with Peggy No Stevens, she was a great help to us.
Yeah, she's awesome. We had her on the show last year, and I absolutely love her. And follow her on Instagram. We communicate back and forth every so often. She's just a tremendous person in what she does. Pat Heist. We had a couple of the people from Wilderness Trail on the podcast. We didn't have Pat and Shane because they both had to go like different places when we had them scheduled, but we had Haley, and oh man, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Jared. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks, Matt. That's what happens when you get old. But yeah, Dr. Pat is cool. I was gonna say, Dayn, you and Pat, man, with your beards, you guys could.
I'm gonna have a beard off with him one day, but I don't know if you guys have seen him in his prime. Like, he's got a freaking total ZZ Top beard like you wouldn't believe, and he totally wears it better than anybody you could ever imagine. He's this guy sitting right front and center on the stage when we're at class, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, Dad, look at the size of that guy's beard. He's putting me to shame here, man.
Yeah, and you look at Pat, and you just wouldn't think this guy is probably the single most knowledgeable person with regard to yeast in the world. He's
a wizard.
Yeah, and then if you see him, he's in a hard rock band too. I don't know if you guys knew that or not, but I've actually got the chance to see him play in his 1990s to 2000s hard heavy metal, like Disturbed and Metallica and all these other bands, and he sings.
Oh my God, that's awesome!
Oh yeah, it's a lot of fun. But we're getting off topic there. Sorry about that. But yeah, Moonshine University, it is a great group of people over there. I have no desire to open up a distillery, but I'd love to go through the course and just learn.
It's
everything.
Fun.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard it's really good. So guys, before we get more back into the bourbon, I want to just take a minute, kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourselves. I mean, who you are. I mean, I'm sure people are familiar with your names and a little bit about you, but we'd love to hear it. So tell our listeners a little bit about who you guys are.
Yeah.
Well, you want to go ahead?
Sure. This started about 7 years ago with Dayn and I sitting around watching an episode of Moonshiners, and sipping on a few whiskeys, and we were like, hey, you know what? I think we could make whiskey. These guys are making it. Why can't we make it? So, one thing led to another. We ordered a still, and we were thinking, we're going to start making it at home and figuring out how to make the juice. And
oh my God,
we quickly learned that was highly illegal. Those guys weren't really making whiskey on TV.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
So we decided to go down the legal route and look into licensing and do all that, and that's how we ended up going to school to learn everything. And We got my daughter involved too. She does a great job with our books, and we tell everybody she's the brains behind the business. So we
She's
work
definitely
really
the
well
rev
together.
limiter.
Yeah, no, we work well together. We have a lot of fun. It's like I said, it's 7 years ago. I can't even. It's crazy how fast time goes by. We've
Yeah.
only been on the shelves for just over a year, like a year and a half.
Yeah,
But
since October of 19. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I tell everybody about my hockey career. The first 3.5 years I spent in the minors. I got sent down to Saginaw, Michigan, where the Chicago Blackhawks minor team was at the time. And that's what I was saying. We have good connections in Michigan. Well, I played 2 years in Saginaw. I started my career there, but it was the best thing for me was playing in the minors. I learned, how to be a young man and learned my profession being in the minors, traveling on a bus all around Michigan and, playing in the old IHL. And I think if I would have been up in Chicago with the big club right away, my career wouldn't have lasted 20 years like it did. So I learned the trade. I learned all the things about myself to help me be a better professional and to be able to play 20 years at the high level that I did. With our whiskey business, we've been learning a lot about the business behind the scenes, trying to educate ourselves, attending as many classes as we can, visiting different distilleries. Everyone that we've met with in the industry, they're very friendly, very
Yeah.
open booked. Quentin Witherspoon here in Texas, he offered for Dayn and I to come and work at his distillery. Dan Garrison here in Texas also, he was awesome to talk to. We learn a lot about these guys and what they're doing. We did the Bourbon Trail ourselves in Kentucky a couple times. So we wanted to try and educate ourselves, and we're going to put our name on a bottle. We wanted to make sure that the juice coming out of that bottle was the best it could be for our education and our abilities. And that's what we try to do. Is the same way we approached our hockey careers. Every time I went on the ice, my reputation was on the line. Dayn's reputation was on the line. The Belfour name was on our jerseys. We wanted to be the best we could be, and that's how we are with Belfour Spirits and our whiskeys.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for people that maybe don't know, you did, before your whiskey career, you did have another career for a little while playing hockey, from what I understand. One of only two people I understand that's won the NCAA and the Olympic gold and the Stanley Cup. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Neil Broughton.
He's
was the
a
other
freak, Mark. He's a freak, Matt. It's true.
But that's a really, that's a super impressive stat. Now I'll tell you I grew up in Eastern Kentucky, so ice hockey was not really a thing for us. But 1980s, the U.S. Olympic team, I was in sixth grade at the time. So to me, I made a scrapbook. I had all these pictures, all these news stories, and I was hooked. And thought I wanted to be a hockey player, but there's just
that was huge. I had my USA jersey. I used to wear it to high school all the time, and I'm sure some of my fellow classmates were wondering why I was wearing a dang USA hockey jersey. But I was proud of those guys. They did a great job. They're a bunch of young guys, and a lot of people didn't realize who they beat. They beat the Red Army, the Russian team that was the best team in the world at the time. I think they had won like 10 world championships at the time. They had the best goalie in the world, Vladislav Tretiak, who became my goalie coach. Not many people know that. He became my goalie coach with the Chicago Blackhawks. So, both Dayn and I learned under Vladislav Tretiak, who was pulled at the end of the first period in that game. If you remember, Tikhonov, the head coach of the Red Army team, pulled Tretiak, and they put in Michigan. And they never should have done. Tretiak's still pissed off to this day about him getting pulled. And the rest is history. USA wins.
Yeah, that's all. It's funny because just talking about it, I still get chill bumps because I can picture that countdown and the "Do you believe in miracles?" and it just gives me chills. So that's about the only exposure really to hockey that I had growing up, and thought I wanted to play, but. Eastern Kentucky, there's just not a whole lot of hockey rinks to play on. Now, Dayn, you played some hockey as well, and then you switched over into the whiskey business. So how did that happen?
I did, Mark, and I usually I tell everybody throughout our professional careers of hockey and our endeavors on and off the ice, we've always been professional drinkers. So, so it's kind of like, not much really changed. We just stopped, going to the rink and getting beat up all the time. And we just focused on the drinks that we really love to drink. I'll never forget this with one of my best friend's dads, Johnny Searfoss. He really introduced me into the world of aged spirits through single malt. Glenfiddich, Glenlivet, Glenmorangie 18s were the three lineup that I had to go with from a Scotch perspective. And I didn't have any idea, what alcohol was, how alcohol was different than, one spirit to another. And it intrigued me. I was a 21-year-old freshman in Omaha, Nebraska. And I ended up getting a part-time gig at a nightclub, and I went from 0 to 120 like you wouldn't believe. I started seeing, the finest casashas, the finest rums, brandies, cognacs, tequilas, single malts, bourbons, ryes, the Japanese whiskeys. And I fell in love with it. I was like, you mean somebody made this? And I started questioning, how did this happen? And, I do some more research, and, oh, wow, there's a whole bunch of chemistry tied to this. There's a whole bunch of biology and botany tied to this. And before you knew it, it's like a crash course on, becoming the biggest nerd in the world for getting drunk. And, and it was just fun. I could relate with products that I loved, with a certain group of people, and I get to compare and contrast just about anything and everything. If it's cigars, if it's food, it was just such an artist driven industry. And I think that's where Dad and I naturally, unknowingly became accustomed to the industry, because you had so much free range to do something different than anybody else. And that's what we strive to accomplish with our own curiosity at Belfour Spirits. Let's make something different. How much different can we make it?
Yeah, we're very creative people. Not a lot of people know this, but we all have pretty artistic backgrounds. I took art through high school and in college. Always enjoyed that side of me. It just never came about because I was a hockey player, but always enjoyed that side. And I find making whiskey very creative, and it's enjoyable working with the different woods, the toast levels, the char levels, the different yeast that Pat makes, and the different types of flavors that we create from these experiments that we work with. We do a lot of research and development behind the scenes with our whiskeys, and we do a lot of tastings. It's a lot of fun.
For sure.
We were like with my hockey career, with Dayn's hockey career, we were very hands-on with our goalie equipment. Developed all of our own patterns and equipment pads and stuff, and had a patent on my skates.
Wow.
We created different profiles for the skate blades. So, working with the whiskey is a lot of fun. I love it when we do our tastings. I'm like, I can't wait to try this barrel and try that barrel. And then, you get into it and you're like, wow, that one surprised us. Sometimes you just, didn't see that one coming, but, we do everything we can hands-on, and, we proof down to the sweet spot in every one of our products to find that sweet spot. And that's where we want to put it in the bottle at. Like I was telling you, if our name is going to be on it, we're going to try and make it the best it can be.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Mark. I'll tell you, this is where Edward comes into play. He's such a mad scientist. We use 7 different cooperages, and it's amazing to just experiment, from cooper to cooper, what one cooper's craft versus another craft, and how their barrel preparation influences, the matured product.
Right.
Dad is basically dealing with these guys on the regular basis, developing our custom char and toast levels for our barrels for each one of our mash bills, trying to give us the best flavor profile we can squeeze out of every single unknown area within this industry. He's a genius. You got to limit those variables. Mad genius, crazy enough to try something different that has the ability to come out amazing. And you can tell from cooper to cooper how different they are. It's incredible, guys.
And what I think is really cool is the fact that it's not just that you said, oh, hey, I'm going to put my name on a bottle and sell some product because people kind of know who I am, and I'm going to, get out there and have some fun and drink some whiskey with people. I mean, you guys are doing the work. I mean, you are the ones that are doing it. And I think that's really cool to see that. I mean, I can definitely appreciate that. And I know that our listeners, our fans will definitely appreciate that as well, to know that it's not just that your name's on the bottle, but it's your heart and soul that you guys are pouring into that liquid as well.
Exactly. So. We didn't want to buy a bulk spirit and, buy.
No disrespect to anybody who does, but
right.
We didn't want to go that route. We're very hands-on
and stubborn.
Yeah, and we're hoping to, in the next year, have our own distillery up and running, and Dayn and I'll be running the still. A lot of the time we'll be in the distillery. We love being in the distillery, hands-on. The aromas that you get, just the feeling of going. For us, we had a routine. When we were playing hockey, it's like you get up every day. You get up and eat your same meal. You go to the rink. You practice. You come back home for lunch, eat the same meal, take a nap, go back to the rink. It's just, we're going to replace the rink with the distillery. It's going to be perfect.
It's a good trade. It's a good trade. I swear. It's a way better trade.
Yeah, I'd say so. No doubt about that. Well, guys, we're actually at the end of our first session. So real quick, Matt, let's go back. We didn't really talk much about the palate and the finish on this one. So what'd you pick up on that?
I really like that you went with a wheated mash bill on this, because it really plays well with the pecan in it. I think the toasted nut and the pecan really shines through again on the palate. There is that sweetness of the wheat, and I'm picking up like a little bit of spice, a little bit of cinnamon. It's like really, really nice. And Dayn, I got exactly what you're talking about with that little bit of jalapeno.
No kidding.
Like, a little bit of twang right there at the end. That's really cool, really unique.
Yeah, you got to thank Edward Scissorhands for that, because that's his specific barrel profile that helps bring that out of the White Lightning. Hey, White Lightning's easy to make. Eddie's got the tough job. All right, he's got to pair it well with the barrels.
Well, yeah, did a really good job on this one, because that was funny, because I'm sitting here the whole time, and you get that spicy, like with a rye or a high rye bourbon, you're going to get some spiciness on it. You're going to get cinnamon, like Matt said, or like black peppercorn or something of that nature. And I've never really tasted a bourbon where I say that does have that jalapeno hotness to it, which is something, because it's only 92 proof, but this drinks out of its proof class. To me, it drinks. It's not hot. It's not something that burns you up, but to me, it drinks higher proof than 92. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely like this. I give this one, Matt, 2 thumbs up for me on this one. What about you?
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the love on that one. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. All right, guys, I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick break. We'll get a word from our sponsor, and we'll come back with round 2. So everybody just sit tight, and we'll be right back in just a second. Hey, Bourbon Lifers. When you're out hunting for those hard-to-find bottles or just enjoying the distilleries of Central Kentucky, you're going to work up an appetite. And when it's time to refuel, we suggest that you visit our good friends Rebecca and Eric Burnworth at the Stave Restaurant. Located at 5711 McCracken Pike in Millville, Kentucky, close to Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve, the Stave Restaurant is just off the beaten path, nestled on the banks of Glens Creek. With a newly redesigned menu, Chef Kyle Klatkev prepares amazing food each day featuring an elevated Kentucky-inspired cuisine. You can take our word for it. The food alone is worth the trip to the Stave. With a full-service bar, great bourbon flights, and signature cocktails, the Stave is the perfect place to catch up with friends after a fun-filled day of touring the local distilleries. And you can even purchase bottles of bourbon to take home with you while you're there. Make sure to follow the Stave on Instagram and Facebook at The Stave Kentucky, or visit them online at thestavekentucky.com to stay up to date on everything that's going on. The Stave Restaurant is a bourbon lover's paradise, right here in the heart of bourbon country. All right, everybody, welcome back for round and or session 2, whichever you prefer to call it, of the Bourbon Life. This is the podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me is my good buddy, my toboggan wearing Matt. You're beanie wearing, man. You can do it today. You can wear the beanie. It's all official because we got the Canadians, the Northern guys. So wearing the beanie is totally acceptable today. So how you doing over there?
We call it toques, though.
Toques.
Yeah,
that's right.
toque.
That's right.
Yeah.
Every time I hear the word toque, I think of Bob and Doug McKenzie. I don't know if you guys
Oh,
do that.
hey, let me tell you what,
Yeah.
what are you doing over there? Hey, stop.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, shove off, eh?
That's right. The Great White North, man. Take off, right? So
testing the brakes out, eh?
so every time I hear that, every time I hear that word toque, I think of Bob and Doug. So can't help myself. But yeah, so Matt's got his toque on over there. Matt, you doing okay tonight?
Oh man, I'm doing great. I'm just excited to be back here with the Belfours, Ed and Dayn from Belfour Spirits, and we're kicking off period number 2 here with their Belfour Rye. You guys want to go ahead and, before we just start bantering off the chain here, let everybody know what we're drinking and tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, Dad, why don't you let the guys know how we got the mash bill when we were at Woody Creek, because that was big between you and me.
Yeah, so rye whiskey big for us Canadians. For me growing up in Canada, I started drinking whiskey when I was about 12 years old, beer when I was about 10, and it was rye whiskey. We didn't growing up in Canada, we didn't know anything about bourbon. So we always had that special place for rye. We wanted to make sure that we could make some really good rye whiskey. And I'm glad you mentioned period 2, right? So we're used to periods 1, 2, and 3, and then you got the overtime periods. And
Yeah.
for us goalies, everyone else gets water bottles. Well, you know what we get? We get whiskey bottles, and we always had made sure we had rye in our bottles. So we wanted to make sure that we had a really good rye whiskey for the Belfour name. Grandma and Grandpa be proud of us.
Oh gosh. Yeah, wait a second. Now, I did have that in my notes here that your grandparents they were distillers or something, or moonshiners?
Well, the true story we don't know 100% sure, but my dad's family, Belfour family, they had 10 kids, and I've heard the story a couple times that grandma had something going on in the bathtub, and we don't know exactly what it was though. So they lived off the land. They had all kinds of stuff growing on trees like choke cherries and all different types of berries, blueberries and stuff.
Sure.
I know they made
Saskatoons.
Saskatoons, and so we don't really know for sure what they were making, but we heard it was pretty good. So when we heard that story, we were like, "Dang, that's awesome! I wish we knew more about it." So
Yeah.
we got that beautiful picture of my grandma and grandpa, all dressed up in their duds back in that would have been in the 20s, and just a beautiful picture of them. It makes me so proud to see them all dressed up like that. And I think my mom and dad said they were on a second honeymoon or something like that. But yeah, rye whiskey. Growing up with it, it was pretty harsh in Canada.
Yeah.
Most of it was 100% rye. So,
Which is what I wanted to make. Back to the
What?
story, I wanted to make 100% rye whiskey because I love freaking rye whiskey. It's badass.
Yeah.
but we wanted to, after talking about it and doing a lot of tastings, we wanted to have something that was a little bit easier to drink than what I grew up on, a little bit smoother. You want to make sure that everybody tried our whiskey and didn't give that bitter face that people give sometimes when they drink a whiskey. It's a little harsh. We
Sure.
wanted our rye whiskey to be well balanced, so we worked on the mash bill, and the mash bill that we came up with was a 70-20-10.
Mhm.
I believe the mash bill originates from the northeast part of the states, Pennsylvania, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
A lot of people back then made rye whiskey of that mash bill in that area, and
Pre-prohibition days. Yeah.
we read a lot of good things about that mash bill and how smooth and easy it was to drink. So you know what? We went down that road and we started making it that way. And oh my gosh, it was amazing right from the start. The white dog was amazing. Dayn, why don't you go ahead and start talking about the white dog? Because,
The
he called
lightning.
me. Yeah, he called me. He was finishing the last barrel of it. We made 12 barrels of it. And
At Woody Creek Distilleries at the end of my internship, I got
Okay.
to make 5 mashes, which came out to be 12 barrels on German engineered pot stills.
Oh, okay.
It
Wow.
was awesome. It was so cool to make this stuff, guys. Like,
Well, there
So
he
this
is
is
sipping on the
so
white dog.
wait, so this
Uh,
rye is
no, it's
what
not
you
that one. It's
yeah. It's the limited edition that you're talking about,
yes,
right? Okay.
yes. But the
Okay.
education and all of the research and development that Dad and I went through on developing that mash bill for
Oh,
my limited
gotcha.
edition, that's what inspired us to go with our regular rye here.
I got you. Okay.
yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same mash bill, just different
Okay.
barrels,
Okay.
different yeast, different water, and like I was telling you, he was sipping on the white dog. He was crying. He was filling the last barrel. He was sipping on the
I'm a
white
crier.
dog,
It's true.
and he said, "Dad," he goes, "this is amazing. It's just so floral. It's just so smooth and easy to drink." And I was like, "Dang, I wish I could be there to sip on that with you." But I had a chance to try it 6 months later. We were doing a hockey event in Aspen, Colorado, Chicago Blackhawks and the Dallas Stars. So we had some of my teammates there. I said, "Hey guys, we're 20 minutes from the distillery where we made our first whiskey." I said, "You guys want to go up there and taste it?" And I was just chomping at the bit to get to taste the whiskey. It was 6 months old, and we all were trying it, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing!" We couldn't have got it any better. And one of my good teammates, Bobby Basson, he doesn't drink at all, and he's sipping on the whiskey. He's like, "Oh my gosh, Ed!" He said, He's like, "This is so smooth." He said, "I can't believe it. This is whiskey." He goes, "If I'm not a drinker, but if I was going to drink, this is what I would drink for sure." So that was like one of the biggest compliments.
Oh
And
yeah.
it was just a great trial period there at Woody Creek. We're so thankful for Mark Kleckner and Patton and the
Pat
guys
and Mary
there.
Scanlon and Tracy. Yeah, it's like a second home for us. Like
Nice.
what I got was such an opportunity. I can never thank Pat and Mary and Mark and Tracy enough for the opportunity to educate myself in the industry and get to work with the equipment every day. Put my hands on, we're millions of dollars of equipment and to get it an education, on
Dave
simple.
Matthews too. Dave
Yeah, Dave
Matthews.
Matthews, not the singer Dave
I love
Matthews, but
I
he's
love his
cool
band.
too. Yeah, not the same Dave, but he's
I'm like,
also
"What?
cool.
Dave Matthews works there? Are you kidding
That's
me?"
awesome. I love him, man. He's
Yeah.
so talented.
He's so chill. Seriously, he's still
He
taking
makes
it
whiskey
easy, guys.
too. Oh my gosh.
So now the rye we're drinking right now, though, it's the same mash bill as what you were making at Woody Creek, but now is this from Southern? Is
So
that where
yes, this is absolutely, Mark. This is after we, established the relationship with Pete and Vienna Barger, the mom and pop operation out of Statesville, North Carolina. They let Dad and I come in and use their equipment as if it's our own.
Oh,
And
wow.
they're such a class act operation. They let us do all of our barreling, all of our proofing down, everything. They're running the equipment side by side with them as if it's our own.
Wow.
Dad and I just took a different approach. Instead of making, a big distillery and, spending all of our funds on the equipment, we went backwards and, we said, hey, we know what kind of flavor profile we're after because of the education in the school and the internship. Let's lay down an inventory. And we laid down 1,700 barrels,
Wow.
about half and half of our bourbon base and our rye base, which is the 60-30-10
Right.
and the 70-20-10. So 60-30-10 bourbon, 70-20-10 rye. So we really tried to go with some nostalgic, authentic, traditional mash bills, both for rye and both for bourbon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's kind of funny because, with the bourbon, because a lot of the bourbons you drink, that we drink, you're looking 75% corn, 10 to 12, maybe up to 25% rye, potentially, and 10, 12, maybe 8% malted barley. So your mash bill on that was obviously, a different type of mash bill than what I'm used to in terms of bourbon. But with that pecan wood, especially, it played well with the wheat and everything that you guys had in that. And then with this rye, the 70% rye, 20% corn, that is almost like what I would expect from a bourbon mash bill, with 70% bourbon or 70% corn and the 20%
rye.
20%
It's
rye.
so true.
So it's unique that you guys kind of flipped it on that. And it's interesting because I don't think I've ever had a 70-20, because Kentucky, a lot of Kentuckians but we're used to drinking what I call the barely legal rye because it's 51%, because Kentuckians want to drink bourbon. So when they drink a rye, they want to be able to say, oh, this tastes like bourbon. And then, you get the guys from Indiana that do their 95.5s, and they're going to be those really harder, kind of spicy, kick you in the teeth kind of ryes you guys talked about. So you guys are right there in the middle. So it's really interesting that you guys came up with this mash bill and decided to go with it. That's really cool. I like that. So Matt, what are you picking up? Yeah. What are you picking up, Matt, on the nose on this one?
When I first got into it, it had like a real peppery nose, but then Ed, you had said something about the floral qualities, and the more I'm thinking about that, the more it's opening up, the more I'm picking up like a sweet floral smell, a really nice like spring floral aroma to it. It's really, really inviting.
It's almost to me, I pick up almost like a honeysuckle off of that, it's like a honeysuckle, and then even it goes over into kind of a almost like a brown sugary maple syrup type of.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
you guys are on it. You guys are on it here.
I couldn't hear you, Dayn. I think you cut out there for a second.
Sorry, you guys are on it. What for me on my palatability, I love to waltz folks down the aromatic presence of dark chocolate, some sea salt and caramel notes there,
Gotcha.
Body of brown sugar and sweet tobacco. So you definitely nailed it, Mark, on on that brown sugary presence there. After you ingest this, the maples. After you ingest this product, this spirit, it's going to give you that cliche warm esophagus leading to that warm belly. But the palatability is what uniquely changes. After about 15 seconds after you ingest and give yourself a nice exhale, you'll find that brown sugar tobacco body completely switches like night and day and leaves you with a long, lingering, refreshing, pepperminty finish that'll resonate in the mid-esophagus area, giving you that cooling and warming sensation at the same time.
Yeah, I see what you're saying on that. Now that had a couple of drinks of it, I don't feel it all the way down in the back of my throat, but in the back of my palate, and actually the roof, kind of the roof of my mouth, but in the very back, I get that, like you said, that pepperminty where when you breathe in after you have a peppermint and you get that really cooling sensation. I'm definitely picking that up. So what about you, Matt, on the palate on this one and the finish? What are you getting on it?
Yeah, I pick up kind of what we were saying. I'm getting a little bit of like a nice graham cracker with it as well. Yeah, there's a really nice kind of honey and graham cracker in there as well. And then Dayn, like you're saying, man, you're really hitting on it. I get that switch from kind of the sweets and the maple, and it switches over to that minty and that really cool, refreshing finish at the very end on it. That's really unique. I don't know if I've quite had something like that before. I really, really like it though.
You're going to love the 106 rye next then if you like that. Oh, baby.
It must be a northern thing because Matt's in Kentucky now, but he's a rye guy. So anytime he gets to drink a high rye bourbon or just a straight up rye,
it's that cold blood in us, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well, we found that too. Like, we've been traveling around to the different states that we're in now. And just over a year ago, we were in North Dakota, and we spent 3 days there. I think we sold 110 cases in 3 days, and it was usually the ratio is a lot higher when we do these tastings and events and stuff. Usually, people are buying a lot more of the bourbon than the rye. But back in North Dakota, it was, if I remember, it was either 50-50 or 60-40 to the rye to the bourbon. And usually it's the other way around, or even like 70-30 bourbon to rye in sales.
That's really funny. Now I'm sitting here thinking back to that bourbon, and Dayn, you talked about that jalapeno thing, and I keep going back to that. And how that, to me, it translated into kind of a spiciness, which I would associate more with a rye whiskey. And now drinking this rye whiskey, I get that sweetness, and then I get that mentholy pepperminty. but it's almost like the bourbon with the pecan wood was spicier to me than what this rye is. So that's really unique that the way that the wood has impacted that bourbon, but also the way your rye mash bill has played out on this rye, especially. It's really, really a good combination. I like that.
Thank you. We definitely feel that, Dad and I, we tried to approach this with giving the drinker a recognizable experience, an experience that you could, go, whoa, I'm drinking some attitude, but I can drink it all night long.
Right.
We find that most of the time we fill up, 2-ounce neat pour of our, whiskeys here. We find ourselves going back for our second, third, and fourth 2-ounce pour incredibly fast. It really sneaks up on you. The bottle's already halfway gone. I don't know what the hell happened, but I'm just happy to be here kind of thing.
Right.
And it just organically, it happens. I don't know how I got there, but I'm here.
That was part of our research and development, though. If you remember, Dayn, I would put 5 different samples in front of them. I'm like, okay, try this one. Tell me what you think about this one. And we go through all of them, and I'd always say, okay, I know you like this one because it's got a little spice, you got a little bit more bang, but which one could you drink all night long? That was one of the things that we always went back to. Like, which one would you want to sip on all night long? And that's what we tried to, hone in on with each one of our products, is to be able to, sip on it all night long and not get tired of it. Because there's lots of whiskeys out there you try just one time and you're like, that's probably not going to go any further than that. And it's good, but just I've had enough.
So or it's too much, or it's like too
right.
much. Like it's too much sweetness, and that's why the bourbon has a little bit more kick, and that's why the rye is a little bit more soft in certain times. Because I've heard different mixed stories. Oh, I can't enjoy this all evening.
Right.
Yeah.
So Dayn, what you're saying is this is one you could put in your water bottle when you're in the goal, and you could work it over for all 3 periods and even go into overtime.
I don't want to say for how many years we did that, but it was a long time we did it. Yeah, 2 overtimes, right, Dad?
Oh my gosh!
As hockey players, well.
We got to entertain ourselves out there where all the forwards and the defensemen are off having fun. What the hell else are we supposed to do but talk to ourselves in the post?
I was just
going to say the posts don't have that much to say anymore, right?
they stop. Hey, those guys only speak Spanish and Portuguese now. They don't speak French Canadian anymore or English. I don't know what they're doing.
That's awesome.
So I've got a question for you, and kind of maybe more of a scientific question behind this. But Ed, when you were talking about pouring out a couple different samples and trying to figure out which one you wanted to really pick because you could drink it all night, what between the samples? So because it sounds like you both have really dug deep into this whole thing. You're not just putting your name on a pretty bottle and putting it out there. You're actually the science and the distillation and the maturation, the barreling and everything. You've got you're completely controlling it all. So what was it that you were controlling or doing in the different samples that were giving you different flavors? Like, were you trying different proofs? Were you trying different cooperage? Were you trying different aging? What's the science in it that you've really gone to exposing to get to where you are?
Definitely different cooperages, like Dayn mentioned earlier. We use a lot of different barrel profiles, different cooperages, with different toast levels and char levels, toast the heads, not toast the heads. We tried a lot of different proof points. We would proof it down in 1 point increments, and we would try to find that combination that allowed us that smoothness that we were looking for, but it still had the complexity that we were also wanting. And that's kind of hard to find, but we didn't give up. We just kept working at it. And I think we settled on 92 and 94, which, it's funny, like not everybody understands what it goes into, being a goalie and getting out on the ice, and, all the prep time, the practice time that goes in behind the scenes. We're not just showing up and looking pretty there, for game time, come 7:30.
Yeah.
We practice every day. anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. We
Blood, sweat,
are
and tears. Yeah.
we're in the gym all the time, working out. We're during the summer, we're doing the same thing, all our off ice training. Well, the same things apply to, I believe, distilleries and whiskey making. There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes that you don't see, but you get to taste it. And for fans, they get to watch us, do our magic out on the ice. Well, we're trying to create that same magic with our whiskey.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
it's
that's great.
captivating.
Guys, I realized that my camera just died, so I know you can't see me, but hopefully you can still hear me. I promise I'm still here and I'm still sober. It's just something, my camera battery must have died. So sorry about that. But you were talking about having the bottles and taking the samples, and usually I keep the bottles in here with me, but tonight I was smart and I just told Matt, keep those bottles out there with you. But unfortunately, he brought me the rye bottle in here and he left it. So you're talking about taking 2 ounces and then going back and maybe getting 2 ounces more, and then
Yeah.
that seems to be happening here, Dayn. So I completely understand what you mean by that. Okay.
It's okay, Mark. No judgment, no harm, no foul, brother. That's right where you need to be.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, did I read somewhere that you guys your whiskeys are you guys doing sweet mash, or is it
We
sour
do
mash?
sweet mash. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every
Really?
batch.
Okay, I thought I saw that somewhere, so I wanted to ask you guys about that. What was it? Was it Pat Heist that said you guys need to do a sweet mash, and you said, you know what, damn it, Pat, you're right, we're going to do that.
No, I think it was
Dad, I
just,
think you should. Yeah, you take that one, Dad.
it
Go ahead.
was, at Moonshine University, we were learning as much as we could. And, we wanted to be different. And we learned that most of the distilleries in Kentucky all do sour mash, not
Right.
all of them.
Right.
So we wanted to be a little different. And we just decided right from the beginning that's what we were going to do. Now, when we have our own distillery, we're definitely going to try some sour mash.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
might as
you know,
well.
we want to see what we can do with sour mash. We'll have something with that for sure. We'll do a single malt eventually. There's all
Oh,
kinds
yeah.
of things that we want to do. So
Yeah,
we can't
we
wait.
are.
Chomping at the bit.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I was just going to say what, you guys you were hockey players and you're watching Moonshiners one night drinking and you said, damn it, we could do this. And then here you are 7-8 years later and you're actually doing this. I mean, did you really back then, did you ever envision or think that you guys you're going to be here and doing this stuff at this level?
Well,
Dad,
I don't
you
think
wanna-
we really talked about the level that I think originally we thought we were going to make whiskey for ourselves and our friends and, maybe have a little mom pop shop in Dallas, Texas.
Right.
And then, once we realized, how much work and effort there goes into getting licensing and the education you need to learn how to do this, I'm thinking to myself, well, if we're going to spend all this time and money on doing this, let's go big,
We're freaking
Mhm.
doing it.
Right.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're doing it.
Oh yeah, that's great. And I like your tagline, the spirits of champions. So, I mean, you set the bar high for yourselves as hockey players, and you're also doing that obviously with your spirits company as well to be the spirits of champions. So
Yeah, and Born for Glory, and Spirit of Champions. So, we really believe in the marketing side of our business, and Elizabeth Cornelius does a great job for us. Getting out there, meeting folks, and sharing what we're doing. It just comes natural to the Belfour family. We love having fun. Hockey players. That's the history of the game. Is socializing and having a great time with the fans and being
Sure.
part of the fans and getting out there and enjoying ourselves. Sometimes it gets us in a little bit of trouble here and there, but you know what? Our hearts are true and we love having a great time and we love sharing our whiskey. So, we love what we're doing and we're going to continue to do that.
Man, that is absolutely awesome. I love that. Very well said. So, and on that note, we probably need to wrap up on this round because we've Well, I never say we go over, but we've exceeded the 20-minute time period.
Oh shit.
Hey, that's quite our, I don't think anybody's going to mind. I know I sure don't, but
Oops,
Matt,
another rule breaking moment, Edward. What else do we got to go do this evening?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So Matt, final thoughts on the rye whiskey. What do you, we didn't even say, did I, that this was 94 proof, right? Yeah. The bourbon,
47%, 94.
yeah. Sorry about that. I forgot completely. The bourbon's 92. This one's 2 points higher. Forgot to say it. Now, and the age on this one, is it roughly the same?
Exact same protocol. We tried to tandem those because those are going to be our first baseline products out there, and I like to describe them, the lead into our rollover minutes, as everything just continues to get older throughout time. The unused cell phone minutes from June to July,
That makes perfect sense. I get it. Yeah. All right,
Yeah,
Matt. So go ahead, Dave.
No, it's you know what? I'm terrible when it comes to. I'm always making metaphors, similes, limericks, and analogies to describe what's actually happening. It's probably a goaltender thing, just the way I perceive, images throughout geometry and how things made sense. But
Sure.
It makes the most sense to me. What I don't use the month before, I get, leftover, and it just kind of rolls over onto the next upcoming months. And that's what's happening to our 2,700 barrels now. They're just getting older and older and more mature. It's great.
Yeah, that's awesome. You guys are going to build up quite an inventory there. That's really cool. So, Matt, final thoughts on the rye whiskey.
I'm loving it. The longer it sits in the glass, the sweeter the nose is becoming.
Yeah.
And the more that floral quality is coming out of it. As it sits, it's just got this really, really beautiful, sweet floral nose, nice honey, a little bit of, like a little like rose petal on the nose. And then the palate is just really great. It's very drinkable. The rye spice isn't overpowering in the least, and it does have that really nice, cool minty finish, that menthol finish, and just smooth cooling effect on the end. I think you all hit it way out of the park with this one. This is excellent.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Bam.
Yeah,
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, I can't say it any better. Matt wrapped that one up really good for me. And even in 18 months, because a lot of times you hear, oh, it's aged 18 months or it's aged 2 years. And, the instant thought process is, oh, that's young, or that's not going to be developed. It's not going to have the right flavor profile. It's not going to have this or that. And this one does not have that at all. I mean, there's no issue with it. Like Matt said, it's very drinkable. It's very enjoyable, from the nose to the palate to the finish. Definitely a solid ride. And it's going to be really fun, Dayn, as you were talking about things that continue to roll over as this ages, man. I'm really going to be curious to see what happens and how things change with it. So you got a great base product for sure. So it can only get better from there. So guys, let's take a quick break, get a word from our sponsor, and we'll come back in just a minute. So everybody just sit tight, and we'll be right back. Hey, Bourbon Lifers, we want to take just a second and tell you a little bit about Three Chord Whiskey. Three Chord's line of whiskeys embody the spirit of creativity. The whiskey is a true collaboration between producer and composer Neil Giraldo and master blender distiller Ari Sussman. The Three Chord team of expert blenders, coopers, and sensory professionals have developed a multi-step process they call perfectly tuned taste. This process begins by carefully selecting the finest bourbon and rye whiskeys from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana, and then blending them all together. After each blend is completed, the Three Chord team then applies their proprietary process of pyrolysis, that's a lot to say, isn't it? Which involves heating American oak to precise temperatures to release specific flavor and aroma compounds. Then they use another proprietary method called rhythmic disruption process, and that's more than just playing music to a bunch of barrels, which integrates all of those related compounds into the blended spirit. Finally, each small batch blend of Three Chord is evaluated by a trained sensory panel to ensure an uncommon depth of flavor, character, aroma, and a perfectly tuned taste in each bottle. With their introductory blended bourbon, their Amplify Rye, Strange Collaboration, which is a Pinot Noir finished Kentucky bourbon, their 94 rated 12-bar reserve, and the brand new highly coveted 15-year Kentucky bourbon they call the Whiskey Drummer, there's a lot of options available from Three Chord. Like the feeling you get when you hear that perfect song, you'll know that the Three Chord line of whiskeys are right from the first sip. They resonate with so much flavor, you'll want an encore. Find out more about Three Chord whiskeys and distribution in your area at www.threechord.com. www.threechordbourbon.com. All right, everybody, welcome back for the third and final period of the Bourbon Life Podcast. I'm your host, Mark, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Matt. Matt, how you doing over there?
Mark, man, I'm doing great.
What you got?
I really am.
What you
We're
got?
having
What you got in your water bottle over there, Matt? What you been squirting out of that water? I see you keep. What's going on over there?
Yeah, that's well, I finally wrestled one of them back from you, which I noticed when I gave it to you was not that empty.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, I'm doing great, Mark. We are back here for the third and final round or period of the Bourbon Life Podcast, and joining us are the Belfours, Ed and Dayn of Belfour Spirits. And before we get sidetracked again, let's get right back to it. What do we have poured up for our last drink of the podcast?
Well, guys, we got the 53%, 106 proof, our special edition straight rye. This is a very special product, hence special edition. Same mash bill as our other rye, 70-20-10. This is just another one of Edward's expertise here. He really utilized the support of a different cooperage. And what I love about this is we only made a total of 30 of these barrels within the overall 2,700 of our barrels currently in inventory. And this just really describes the reflection of how hands-on, we all are in general, but specifically Dad. We utilize Barrel Mill, which is a cooperage out of South Minnesota. And we used air seasoned staves, 36 months.
Wow.
Okay. So really developing a different flavor profile here than our other rye, and at a higher proof point. You'll find some similar notes present. Obviously, those peppery, those minty notes on the finish will be there, but just a little bit more heightened. I like to think of this almost as maybe a little bit more of a burnt sugar, a little bit more campfire, but some nice cookie dough accents in the body, and still with that nose, a little bit fruity, a little bit floral. I find apricot in this product over the regular rye, and again, that's a 6% alcohol, percentage swing here up to 53 from 47.
Right. Yeah. So we're definitely bumping it up some, which is, right up my alley. I'm always happy to do that.
Yeah. I like higher octane stuff too, Mark. I really do.
Yeah.
I do.
That's my thing. I just, that's my jam. So I definitely
triple
enjoy
digits.
It. Yeah. There you go. Once you hit that triple digits, you're like, yeah. We get to the 120s and 130s. That's where we're really talking then. So I'm all about that. Matt, what are you picking up over there? I see you swirling it around in the glass. What do you got?
Yeah, it's got the nose is a little more pronounced with the pepperiness and a little more spice coming through. I haven't tasted it yet.
Yeah, I haven't either. I've just given it the nose.
Like a little bit of floral, and there's almost like a nougat on the nose to it that I'm picking up. Like thinking, yeah, like a little bit of like the Dayn, when you're saying cookie dough, that's kind of like strangely reminiscent here.
Yeah, a little bit of Chips Ahoy almost like. Yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's funny because, we can see each other. Obviously, nobody else can see us, but I see Ed every once in a while look straight up. Well, the funny thing is on Squadcast that we're using, everybody's in their own little box. So every time Ed looks up at his ceiling, he's looking straight up at you, Dayn. And it's like the Brady.
Yeah, no way.
It's like the Brady. It's like the Brady
That's
bunch.
hilarious. That is funny.
Dayn's like, Ed's looking around and
he's
looking
like,
up.
what the hell is he talking about? He's drunk again. I know exactly what he's doing inside that marble of his too. Oh yeah.
It's just funny because he just looks straight up as you're talking sometimes, and it's like the Brady Bunch thing where everybody's looking square to square at each other, So there you go.
Hey, we make the best of teams, man. We're TNT. We pack a punch, bro. We do.
Yeah, so talk about that a little bit, because we've had some father sons. We had Fred and Freddie No on here. We had Wes. We didn't have his sons, but we had Wes Henderson on here with Angels Envy last week, and he worked with his dad to start Angels Envy, and then obviously he works with, I guess, 4 of his sons now, right, Matt? 4?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 of his 6 sons. So what's that like? I mean, what's it like, Dayn, for you working with your dad, and Ed as a dad working with your son and your daughter and now your other son as well? I mean, tell us a little bit about that dynamic and that relationship.
Well,
Dad,
it's
you want to go? Yeah,
for me,
go ahead.
yeah, it's very um, I'm proud every time I see them at work, and how into it they are. Dayn, he does such a great job of promoting the product and speaking about the product, and he knows everything about the product and everything that goes into it. He starts talking. We're in a total wine or in a bar, and he starts talking about Belfour Spirits and our bourbon and our rye whiskey, and people just flock around him. He's like a Pied Piper, and it's awesome to see. And he can make the drinks too. He knows all the cocktails, and he was a bartender, so it's awesome to see him at work and doing the tastings and talking about the product, and just people are just like, in awe listening. And that makes me so proud, that he's that much into it and loves what we're doing. And, I've always told my kids, if you're going to do something, you got to, do it to your best and give it your all. And you got to love what you do.
Yep.
It takes up a lot of time and effort, and no one wants to do, that much time and effort into something that you don't really happy about. And both my kids, Dayn and Reagan, are right into Belfour Spirits and helping on a day-to-day basis with, everything from behind the scenes of, what Reagan does, keeping everything running smoothly with the billing and operations and ordering. And, all that's not easy. And, Dayn, making sure that, all the fans know what we're doing, and, talking to people about our products, they do a great job. And then Adler, he's still young. He's only 13, but he was there when we dumped our first barrels. And
Nice.
That was awesome. That was
that was
amazing.
pretty neat to see him. He had the hammer, and he was in there chiseling
Yeah,
out the bung, and so it's enjoyable for me. And I'm hoping that they can take it on for years to come and enjoy, going, to the distillery and talking about Belfour Spirits and, creating new products.
Sure.
I'm hoping it can go on for a long time in the Belfour name. That's our goal. Um, we want to make the best, like I said, we want to make the best whiskey we can, and be thought of as a top brand, in the world. We want to take this wherever it can go, and being part of, my family being involved, from everything that we do. I'm so proud and happy that we can do that. I know my mom and dad are so proud. I'm fortunate enough to still have them, and
Nice.
all my aunts and uncles, they're so proud. And it's a great family operation. Sure, I had an awesome hockey career that lasted 20 years, but the whiskey business and what we're doing here could last hundreds of years.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, it's
it's
funny because thinking about as a professional athlete, a lot of people, and I mean, obviously, I've never been a professional athlete, but I just can't imagine the time and effort. You talked about that. You go to the rink, you come back, you eat. You go back to the rink. I mean, you're at the rink, you're playing, you're traveling, you're doing this, and having a family in that situation. Obviously, I'm sure it's tough to dedicate time to doing the hockey as a professional, but then also spending time with your family. And you can't take your kids out there on the rink, with you all the time. But obviously, with the distillery, this is a place where you guys can come together as a family and work together and do things together and spend this time together and really grow something uniquely. That's Belfour. I mean, it's you guys. It's your
yeah,
brand. It's really cool. So
that's exactly true. Like I was saying earlier, people don't realize the time it takes, uh, uh, spent at the rink and training. And for me, I was living a dream. It was awesome, but you miss so much time with your kids, when they're
right,
growing up. And I look back on that, and like I said, like I had an awesome career, but there was a lot of sacrifice there. Missing out on time spent with the kids, and their birthdays and stuff like that, and birthday parties and events that they had at schools and stuff. And, you just miss out on a lot of that. And, now that we're doing this business together, there's a lot of things that we get to share and have fun. And of
Sure.
course, there's ups and downs, in hockey for sure, wins and losses, and, you take them seriously. And that happens in business and in real life too. Now my kids are older. We share these ups and downs together, and there's a much better understanding of those ups and downs. Um, sure, we also have very strong personalities. We get into arguments once in a while, just like teammates do in professional hockey. And
Sure.
but everyone's pulling on the rope and headed in the same direction, and that is to create, like I said, the best whiskey we can create and promote our brand worldwide. Eventually, hopefully, we can get there. And I had a dream of winning the Stanley Cup when I was 4 years old, watching Hockey Night in Canada with my mom and dad. Back then, there was only 6 teams, the original 6. My favorite team was the Chicago Blackhawks. And you know what? I never made my high school hockey team, and I'd still go to the games and I'd cheer on my schoolmates, my teammates that were out there playing hard. We go to our high school parties and stuff, and the kids would be always like joking around, like, so what are you going to be, what are you going to do, what are you going to be when you grow up, Ed? And I said, well, I'm going to play in the NHL one day. And they started laughing, like, you're not even on the high school hockey team. How are you going to make the NHL? But when you got that heart and you got that drive and you never give up on your dreams, that's what I tell everybody. You just got to take it day by day and you work hard towards it. And our goals now are the same. We want to try to make the best whiskey that we can make, and be a worldwide brand at some point in our lifetime, hopefully before I pass on and leave this earth. And my kids, we have those goals to be the best we can be, and we work hard at it, and that's what we strive for.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that really, Dayn, I was going to say, what's it like working with your dad? But come on, with that kind of motivation, man. I mean,
It's honestly, Mark, it's so everything that Dad said, it's on point. I'm thankful for everything that he's gone throughout his endeavors and his youth into his young adulthood and more mature adulthood. I was born into the game of hockey without a choice. It was my life, and people don't understand that. A lot of folks just think it's a game to me, but it's not. It's my life, and it was my dad's life, and I owe everything I have in my life to that education.
Yeah.
And what I learned through my dad, and what I learned through heroes like Bobby Hull and his son Brett Hull, and just always being around winners and champions. And I mean, I don't watch hockey nearly as much as I used to, because it's not the same rough and tough game that I was born into. And one day, I swear to God, I do believe we'll get back to that. But what I'm doing now is 10 times better that I get than me playing, because I'm with my dad, my brother, and my sister. I'm not lying. My kid brother was there when we tapped those damn barrels, and he
That's
was like,
awesome,
Dayn,
man.
can I take a sip of this off my arm? And he said it was spicy. So I'm just saying, okay? Like, I've got the best life ever. We get to make frickin' booze that creates a celebratory experience, and I get to do that with my family and my friends. And that's what it's all about. It's having a good time all the time, because there's no sense in having a bad time. And I use that when I interact with people, because that's exactly what my family, corporation, and business has been built around. Having that celebration, having that victorious moment, and being able to share special moments with generations across the board. I mean, Christ, I can have a glass of bourbon and rye or single malt or spirits in general, and I'm looking down the bar and I see 21-year-old, a 31-year-old, a 41-year-old, 51, 61, 71, 81, 91, and you all get to share these beautiful moments just over a glass of bourbon.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, I got to expand on that. So there I am, dream come true. I'm in the NHL, right? and we're playing in Winnipeg. I grew up in Carmen, Manitoba, an hour from Winnipeg, playing against the Winnipeg Jets. And nowadays, the drink that was put on the table or is put on the table is Gatorade and Powerade and these sports drinks and stuff. There I am, a rookie in the NHL, and you want to talk about socializing. You know what was said on the table at the end of the game after we were done playing the Winnipeg Jets? It was a case of Labatt's Blue and a bottle of Crown Royal. That's what we. That's what our recovery drinks were. So
Labatt Blue.
Oh man, that's awesome though. That's great. But I mean, you guys obviously have a great relationship, and you got a great business. You got a great business model. You got a great philosophy with what you're doing. So that obviously comes through with into your whiskey and what you guys are putting out. So this, going back to this limited edition. Now, are we talking? Is this the same age and everything that as the other one, or is this one aged longer, or what's
this is longer?
Mark. Yep, this one sat in the barrel quite a bit longer. You're looking at about a 3.5-year-old product there to a 3-year-old product.
Okay, I was going to say, because it was drinking more mature. Obviously, it's darker, but I didn't know if that was just higher proof, or
it's
if it
right
was
around 3 years old.
Okay.
And the reason why it's a special edition is because you guys see the bottle or not? It's got the Sioux head on the cork.
Right. Hold this one up, then.
It's for the Sioux fans. I was so lucky to play for the Fighting Sioux. I was telling you guys earlier. I was only there 1 year in '86, '87. That was a awesome place for me to play. It was 2 hours from Carmen, Manitoba, in North Dakota. Play for the Fighting Sioux was a dream come true. The first one. We went 40 wins, 8 losses, and won NCAA championship. They called our team the Dream Team. I don't think anybody's beaten that record since. We played in the Joe Louis Arena against Michigan State. So I said we had ties to Michigan. Dayn was born there, won the NCAA there, played my first NHL game in the Joe. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So, I wanted to pay tribute to the Fighting Sioux fans, my Fighting Sioux teammates, my Fighting Sioux coaches, Gino Gasparini, John Marks, Dean Blaze, and Kerry Eads, all my teammates. It was just a place that I'll never forget. I go back there every summer, and a lot of my teammates still live there. I'm on a thread right now with my teammates. I think there's 20 of us on there. It's awesome. We talk every week. It's just great to be part of those guys still. Tony Herkus and I won the cup together. We won the NCAA together in playing for the Fighting Sioux. Won the cup together playing for the Dallas Stars. We played together in Chicago. So, Herc and I go a long ways back. It's just a special place, and I wanted to create that bottle, for my teammates, for my coaches, and it's green and white, our colors, and we wanted to have a little oomph into that product, so it's got a little bit more spice to it.
You're right.
So yeah.
It's 106 proof.
Edward, your call. Sue, yeah, please. Come on.
Go Sioux!
Yes,
Oh yeah, man. That's awesome. But that's a beautiful bottle. All your bottles are beautiful. That's a nice little transition, because we talked about it several times, and now I guess this is a good opportunity to get in and talk about the bottles. That was probably the first thing that really caught my eye. Was the bottling that I saw on Instagram. People were posting pictures of it. Man, it is just gorgeous. So you guys want to talk about that just a little bit, how you came up with that design, the bottle design, the label design, the name, the font, everything. It's really cool.
Well, like the Belfours, we wanted to be extra special, extra different, very unique. Working with Peggy Nose Stevens, she was very helpful in this department.
Nice.
We wanted to celebrate 100 years, the Gatsby era. Our philosophy, like we've been talking about, is having fun getting people involved and partying, and the Gatsby era was just awesome time period back in the 1920s, and the bottle's very Art Deco.
Yep.
We wanted to have that uniqueness to the bottle, and when it sits up there on the back bar or it's on the shelves at the liquor stores, we wanted to have that uniqueness, that presence when people would take a look at it and be like, wow, what's that? We
Right.
wanted people to just be in wow, in awe of it. And then, the juice had, like Dayn says, the juice has to match the squeeze. So we had to make sure we put the best whiskey we can in the bottle. So that's why we work so hard on every department of what we do. And Peggy Stevens, she did a great job of helping us create this package. She was great to work with, very
Nice.
helpful. We're very thankful for her.
It took us over 2 years to design the glass, guys. We
Wow.
we utilized 2 different glass manufacturers, Heinz out of Germany and Pavisa out of Mexico. We have 2 just in case, if there's any, supply issues, that we have 2 great suppliers that we can lean on that give us quality glass. We're so grateful for it. And the labels, we went over 150 different variation of those labels. And it has changed like you wouldn't believe from start till finish. And it has become so clean, so crisp, so classy. And from a little bit of confusion, I'll say air quote confusion. I like our first designs, but we evolved. We just grew into our own shoes here. And it from functionality of use in the bottle from a bartender's perspective, which every ABC bartending school will tell you never to body pour, but we put the stippling on the body to be functional for grip and sexy for your eyes. And all the way up to the neck height with a little lip under for your index finger and thumb grip from a neck pourer's bartender's perspective. We try to give it all the way to the 1.5 ounce sterling silver jigger that we offer on our limited edition that resembles something that perhaps Edward may have won back in 1999. I don't know anything about that.
Very special. But one other person that's has been very integral in this is Don Hardwick. Peggy got us started off in the right foot with our designs, but Don Hardwick from Kentucky's done a great job of helping us finish this product along with Eurostampa, with the labels. They've done a fantastic job with the labels at Eurostampa, and Don Hardwick has done a fantastic job with, piecing everything together, all of our corks. He's been the one who's been the finisher on this beautiful packaging. I don't know if you saw the box that the VIP limited edition box that the bottle comes in, but it's an amazing job, and Don Hardwick did all of that. So
nice. Now the label they got. Oh man, that's beautiful. Wow. Yeah, no.
Yeah, sorry. You got it too, Dad. Eh? Yeah, same time.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Oliver. There you go. Our listeners can't see that, but still, I will just say that. Oh, look, he's got there you go. He's got the bottle in there.
Nice.
Man,
I'm sorry if you're being blinded by that beautiful shimmer, coming off of this chalice here. It's the lighting of the room. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, how'd that happen? Yeah. No, that's gorgeous. Yeah, our listeners definitely need to check that out. Get on the website and check that out, because that's spectacular. I mean, and the label's cool. Obviously, it's very Art Deco, like you said. And then now all the bottles, because I don't have the bottle. Like I said, I left them with Matt so I wouldn't pour myself additional pours.
We get it, Mark. We get it.
I'm pacing myself. But do they all have the wings on the side, or is it just a limited edition? So
they do. They all have the wings on the side. And you know what? I'm going to try to find a way to do this here with the camera. But I'm going to just tilt it so you guys can see. So we center folded our name.
Right.
But as a bartender, sometimes bottles get turned to the side.
Right.
So if they do, you have Belfour in the crest in the center.
Oh, and you got the wings
fully spread out. the eagle at the neck, topped by the chalice. So there really was some functional, marketing here at play when, we were all developing, the presentation. We really wanted it to capture, as you guys have acknowledged, the eye, literally in every aspect, every angle.
Right. Yeah, you definitely do. And for our listeners who may not know, Ed's nickname, the Eagle, right? So the wings on the label, on the bottle, on the sides, have the wings to represent the nickname, the Eagle. So how'd you get that nickname? I'm just curious. I don't know the story.
Yeah, so when I was a rookie, back then the goalies wore helmets, like the forwards, and then you'd wear like a cage, kind of like a back catcher's cage.
Uh-huh.
And um, the top goalies got special made custom masks. And so I think it was my rookie year, it would have been like right at the beginning of my rookie year. After 3 years in the minors, I got called up in the playoffs, and I had a really good playoff, which actually was solidified my opportunity to play the next season with the big club. And I ended up playing 74 of the 82 games that next year, was rookie of the year, and
43 wins, right, Dad?
Yeah. So
freak.
That ended up giving me that opportunity to get my own mask made. So Greg Harrison was a mask maker back then out of Toronto, Canada. And he asked me, he goes, Ed, what do you want on your mask? And I'm like, I want some really mean looking birds on the side of the masks. So he put 2 eagles on the mask, one on each side. And it just stuck, Eddie the Eagle. Mike Keenan was my coach at the time. And he started calling me Eddie the Eagle, and then the press got a hold of it, and it just never went away. So it worked out perfectly. Every mask after that had a unique eagle on it. And our bottle has another unique eagle on it, on the cork and on the neck label. And
who designed our eagle, Dan?
Kind of a neat story. Good friend of mine, Jeff Friesen, who ran my car shop for all those years when I was playing professional hockey, Carman Incorporated. We build street rods and muscle cars. I don't know if I told you that, guys, but we love
also
racing.
Love going way too fast. Shake and bake, right, Ricky Bobby over there?
Yeah, exactly.
Shake and bake. Right. If you ain't first, you're last, right?
That's right, baby. Exactly. So we won the cup in '99. Jeff's daughter, Abby, was a little baby, and they have a picture of her in the Stanley Cup. And she is now 20 years old, and she created that eagle for us. She's an artist, and her and I worked together to develop the new eagle. So very proud of Abby Friesen for doing that for us.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. That's an awesome story, man.
Mm-hmm. We tried to keep it as close to the family and our friends within the operations as possible.
Sure.
It's truly who we are, as a family, and it's allowed us to do the great things that we've been able to do by leaning on one another.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you talked about the past now. So let's talk about the future. Let's move into that a little bit. And I'm not worried about the time, guys, so don't look at your clock. So tell us a little bit about the future, Belfour Spirits. What's up? What's going on? What are you guys looking at? What do you got planned? Let's hear
Dad.
Well, we gotta
give away my ace up my sleeve here. You're gonna give up all my secrets here.
Okay, I'll talk about the distillery.
All right.
And you can share what's coming out on the shelves in maybe month and a half, 2 months.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So our goal all along, we always wanted to have our own distillery. We bought that little still when we first started.
Yeah, where the hell are we gonna put this thing?
And to this day, we still don't have our own distillery. We have, I don't know, maybe like 10 different plans of architectural drawings of
That's an understatement. 10 is an understatement. You might as well tell them the truth.
Yeah.
You're on your 400,000 variation of
140 drawings.
But I think we got it narrowed down to, the type of still, the size of still, everything that we want in our distillery. I
got
think
30 different plans for the same equipment variation. What are you talking about? Stop lying. Tell everybody the truth here.
so. We're hoping that we can announce, hopefully within the next 3 months, that we're going to be building finally the Belfour Spirits Distillery, and we're not 100% sure where it's going to be, but we are going to build a distillery, and I can't wait to get started and announce that. That's big news for us. We want to get our distillery up and running. It's going to be a 14-inch column still.
Okay.
We'll have a pot still also. We have some other things that we want to do eventually. So our distillery will be well rounded. We look forward to getting in there and creating some very unique products. And like I said, I can't wait. I'm chomping at the bit. And we definitely want to expand to every state across the U.S. If the darn border would ever open, we'll definitely be all across Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fact. I miss the motherland.
Right.
I'd like to go see Grandma here soon.
Right.
Come on.
Okay. And then, of course,
Serious.
like I was telling you, we'd like to, get our products all across the world to as many countries as we can eventually. We have friends in Sweden where we played. Both Dayn and I played in Sweden. And we have good friends over there that have done some homework for us. And I would eventually say after Canada, Sweden would be probably the first country that we would have our product in. And we look forward to that day too.
Yeah,
Well,
miss Sweden. Yeah.
Ed, I'll tell you, as much as, we love, I noticed, I didn't even realize I had Still Austin. I'm wearing my Still Austin whiskey hat tonight out of Texas, right? But we've had several different Texas guys on here. We're going to have Dan Garrison on the show in a couple months as well.
Dan's a great guy, Mark. He's a great guy.
I mean, we're fans of the Texas, man. What the things that are coming out of Texas, we're really impressed with. So if you guys decide to stay in Texas, we're not going to be upset about that too much, but we would love to formally invite you to Bardstown or to somewhere in the central Kentucky region, to build your distillery and produce your juice. I'm just going to throw that out there on behalf of all Kentuckians. Okay.
Well, thank you very much.
It'd be an honor to be associated with either or Texas or Kentucky. We're so thankful to be in the position we are because of the influence that both states have had on us.
Sure.
That's
I'm
a
sure.
fact.
Well said, Dayn. The people in Kentucky have rolled out the red carpet for us everywhere we've gone, and we've been to Bardstown. We love the folks there. They've been awesome to work with, and we haven't decided where we're going to be yet, but we sure look forward to announcing that.
That'd be great. All right, Dayn. So what do you got going on in terms of your releases? Come on, you can tell us. Yeah, nobody's listening except a few thousand.
Oh my! Nobody's listening. I got the last quarter of 2020. I gotta tell you guys. I went through. I'll give you some specific numbers. I went through about 165 barrels, and that's about 160, 170, 160 to 160 to 175. 95 of those barrels are coming probably this spring. Spring's over already. This summer, we're in process of bottling right now. Dad and I were working on a really nice piece with 95 specific barrels, and this is a true small batch run of ours. We don't have a very large inventory. We only have an inventory of 2,700 barrels,
right?
And 95 of those barrels, I just tasted every damn single one of those babies, and they are sleeping very, very well right now. And I blended them all together, and I didn't even proof them down, but Dad did the proofing down. I blended them together, and Dad proofed them down. And so it was kind of a little bit of, hide and seek, if you will, here between him and I. So I told him, I'm like, okay, we got something. We're ready here for our small batch straight bourbon to come out. Nice. And the majority of the product, I want to say, is right around that 3 to 3.5-year-old age.
Okay. All right.
So very similar to the special edition. We were preparing this in tandem alongside with the rye, but as you guys know, the rye is a little bit more of a volatile grain and usually matures quicker than bourbon.
Right.
So the bourbon came first, and then closely monitored was the rye, but now the bourbon's coming into fruition. We really love the way it tastes. And if I may give a little bit of a sneak peek on Proof Point,
Sure.
triple digits.
Oh yeah.
And I'll even go quadruple digits because Dad's so finite while he was proofing it down. We're gonna go with 100.5 proof.
Gotcha. That'll work.
For a small batch straight bourbon, and I'm damn proud and damn excited about that because I love everything 100 proof. And we will eventually have 4 years under our belt, so we'll enter the bonded perhaps realm space just around the corner.
Right.
Yeah, we're excited about our small batch. It's turned out very nicely for us. Again, Don Hardwick, he really helped me out with that, and Ashley Barnes. She did a great job for us and helping us with this small batch. It was great working with the two of them and along with Dayn's input. We wanted to come out with something that was going to reflect what we've been doing and be a little bit higher proof. So we're excited about that, and hopefully you'll be able to see it here on the shelves within the next couple months.
That sounds great.
I go through sampling every once in a while of this critter, and I cannot wait to have a big old size Texas Mickey of this thing right now. Because when everybody shows up to my party, I'm frickin' pouring drinks, and we are dancing and jamming all night long. And that's just how it's got to be. That's just how it's got to be.
That sounds like a great plan. And feel free to send any of that our way. If you want to, if you want just a little input from our
we'll definitely send you a
absolutely, guys. It'd be an honor. Sure. You kidding me?
We've been working on the labels here for the last couple months, and want to make sure we have a nice impact label for that product.
Sure.
Again, Don Hardwick, Eurostamp have been doing a great job. I'll be flying up there in the next couple of weeks to try to finalize the label for that bottle. And,
nice. Well, that's great, guys. We've gone like into quadruple overtime, so we probably.
Well, thanks so much for having us. We really appreciate it, Mark and Matt. It's been fun.
This is great.
Talk about our whiskeys.
Yeah, I'm sorry we gotta wrap it up, but I appreciate it. But real quick, we'll get some final thoughts, Matt, on the limited edition rye. What are you getting over there?
No, special edition.
It's got a much more of a peppery nose, that nougat or that cookie dough is coming through on the nose too. And I think I can taste it's been in the barrel a little bit longer. The oak is imparting a really nice toasty, good oak flavor. It's coming through on the end, like a little bit of a smokiness to go with it. And I like it at the higher proof. It's got a little more body to it. It's just a really, really great pour. A really, really, really well really. And I'm going to tell you, Matt, because we usually split the bottles. When people send us bottles, we drink them during the show, and then we try to split them up so each of us end up with something. And Matt usually takes the rye, but I'm just going to put it right out on the line right now that Matt will not be taking the special edition rye home with him tonight. I'm sorry, Matt, but this bottle is going to stay. This is going to stay with me. This is delicious. I mean, you guys knocked it out with this one. I mean, honestly, the proof point, everything. It's got a great flavor. It's got a great profile. So I'm a big fan of it, man. So you guys, I mean, it's great. I mean, there's no other way to say it, man. This is really good. So
awesome to hear. Thank you so much, Mark. Really appreciate the words.
Yeah, you're very welcome. All right, guys. So before we wrap it up, where can people find you guys? That's probably the big question most listeners are going to have right now. Where can we find these delicious products that we've been talking about tonight?
Yeah. So we're across Texas. We're in every Total Wine and Spirits, Costco, WP. We're in about, I want to say by the end of the year, we should be in about 14 states.
Okay, good.
The Dakotas, North and South, Illinois, Texas,
Missouri should be coming around the corner. Colorado, Georgia, Tennessee, Atlanta, Atlanta, Georgia, Georgia, Tennessee
Michigan coming up.
Michigan's coming up. South Carolina, we just launched. Oh my God! I'll tell you right now, the folks over in South Carolina, we sold out already. I was just there for 2 or 3 days, and they got to order more booze. That I was drinking so much that they were drinking more than I was drinking, and I'm always drinking, really. So, I mean, I didn't even see it coming. It just happened, you know. I mean,
I'm telling you what,
we're having so much damn fun, guys. It's ridiculous. It should be illegal how much
you
fun
go to
we're having.
belfourspirits.com, and there's a search engine on there. You put in your zip code. It'll tell you the closest on-premise, off-premise stores where you can purchase Belfour Spirits.
And I'm assuming that pretty soon we're going to have single barrel a barrel pick program where we can come and pick.
Yes, you are, guys. Yes, you are. I've been working on it for a while.
Yeah. We will be there.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear, because we're getting into the Bourbon Life barrel picks these days now, so we're going to start making that reality happen. But yeah, this would be a great thing to work with you guys to be able to do something like that.
We're going to have to get together in person, guys. Seriously.
Yep, I agree with that. When you guys are in Kentucky, finally things are starting to open up here a little bit in Kentucky, which is great. So we're happy to see that. Yeah, so things are opening back up. Restaurants, bars, things are coming back around. So we're really happy with that. But yeah, you guys come back up here, man. Let us know for sure, and we'll definitely get together. So before we wrap it up, close it out, since we've gone into 5 overtimes tonight, you guys, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I got something. Peggy owes me a night of dancing around Kentucky, so we got to do it live. It's got to happen.
All right, Peggy No Stevens, we got you on the spot.
Miss you, Peggy. Love you, Peggy. We miss you.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Matt, before we wrap it up, anything else you need to add?
I just got to say thank you both for being on the show and chatting with us, and for doing what you're doing here. There's definitely a sense of pride that goes into it, just like most hockey players will tell you. It's something to put your name on the back of the sweater and put that sweater on your back. And you all have done the same thing with your spirits here. You put your name on the bottle and you put your spirits inside of it, and the pride shows. It's not just the name plastered across there. It's a little bit of heart. It's a lot of soul in there. You all have done a really great job.
Thanks, Matt.
Really appreciate it,
Mark.
Yeah,
thanks,
man.
Mark. Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys very much. We really appreciate it, and look forward to the second round with you guys one of these days. We'll
game two of the playoffs. Game two.
Game two of the series will definitely happen. There's no question about it. So I'm going to thank our sponsors real quick before we wrap it up. So again, that's the Stave Restaurant out there in Millville. Man, you guys come down next time you come to Kentucky. If you guys have never been to the Stave, it's out there between Castle and Key and Woodford Reserve. It's a great restaurant.
We look forward to it.
Yeah, we'll go out there and have some great food, and you can check them out online at thestavekentucky.com. And then also we got to thank 3 Chord Bourbon, our other sponsor. We love what those guys are doing. We talked about Ari a little bit. As a matter of fact, the master distiller up there, just doing some great work out of Michigan, of all places, right? So we love those guys and appreciate their support. And with all that said, I'm going to wrap it up. And I know we ran over a little bit longer, but we appreciate everybody sticking with us. But wrap it up with our tagline, which is, may your glasses always be full, and may you keep on living the bourbon life.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of the Bourbon Life Podcast. Our mission at the Bourbon Life is simple: to share our passion for all things bourbon with you every week. And we'd really love to hear your thoughts on how we're doing. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at The Bourbon Life. You can also contact us by email at thebourbonlife@gmail.com. And you can always find us on your favorite podcast platform. If you have a moment, we'd love it if you would rate us and give us a review. So until next week, we hope your glass is always full and that you keep on living the bourbon life.